All right, let's jump right into a really cool idea from the sociologist Max Weber. We're talking about his concept of the ideal type. Now, this might sound a bit academic, but trust me, it's a super powerful tool for understanding the messy world around us. So, let's get into it.
But before we get too deep, let me ask you something. How in the world do you measure something that doesn't really exist? Something you can't see, you can't touch, something that's not a perfect, real thing you can find anywhere. Sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, this is a puzzle sociologists deal with constantly.
I mean, think about it. Human society is just chaotic. It's messy. It's complicated. It's always in flux. So how on earth do you create some kind of scientific ruler, a yardstick to measure any of it? That's exactly the problem the great Max Weber wanted to tackle.
And his solution? It's a brilliant research tool he called the ideal type. Now, here's the most important thing to get right off the bat. An ideal type is a construct. It's an idea that a researcher builds in their own mind to help them scientifically study what's going on in society. You can almost think of it as the sociologist's secret weapon for analysis.
So the key word here is abstraction. This isn't something you're ever going to stumble upon out in the real world. It is purely a mental model. I love this analogy. It's like a compass or a GPS for a sociologist. It's a navigation tool that helps them find their way through the super complex, sometimes confusing territory of social reality.
Okay, so let's just make this crystal clear. The ideal type, it only exists in your head. It's an abstract benchmark, a pure measuring stick. You will never find a perfect, real-world example of one. It's a completely clean, analytical idea designed just for measurement and comparison. The best way to think of it is like this. It's the blueprint, not the actual building.
All right, I know this is all still a little bit abstract. So to make it really concrete, let's look at Weber's most famous example of this, his breakdown of bureaucracy. This is where we really see the ideal type in action.
Okay, so what Weber did was create this ideal type of a bureaucracy. In this perfect, pure model, you've got a few key things. There's a super clear hierarchy. Everyone knows who's in charge. People are hired based on qualifications. That's the formal selection. Everyone has their own specialized job. Relationships are impersonal, so no playing favorites. And literally everything is governed by written rules and regulations. It's the ultimate rational, efficient model.
But, and this is the absolute key, Weber knew that no real-life organization would ever be a perfect one-to-one match for this blueprint. That's not the point. The goal isn't to find a perfect bureaucracy. The goal is to use this model as a benchmark. It lets a sociologist walk into a real company, say the DMV, and ask, okay, how close does this place get to the ideal? And even more interesting, where does it fall short and why?
So yeah, it's like you build this perfect model in your head first, with all its specific parts. Then, when you go out into the field to do your research, you've got this ready-made framework, almost like a checklist, to guide what you're looking for and how you compare things.
Okay, we've got to pause here and clear up the #1 biggest misunderstanding about this whole concept, because it's so important. It's that word ideal. It can really throw you off.
When we say something is ideal in everyday life, we usually mean it's perfect or that it's morally good, right? But when Weber says ideal type, it has absolutely nothing to do with whether something is good or bad. Zero. It just means a pure, concentrated version of a concept, a totally neutral analytical tool.
Think about it this way. A sociologist could totally create an ideal type of a crime syndicate. Obviously, they are not saying that crime is ideal as in, yay, crime is great. No way. They're just building a pure model of its core characteristics so they can better understand and compare how different criminal groups actually operate in the real world.
So once you get that ideal just means pure concept, you can really see why this is such an amazing tool for sociologists. It brings a real, systematic method to what can be a very messy field of study.
The whole process is actually pretty straightforward, but really powerful. Step 1, you build the abstract model in your head. Step 2, you go out and look at the real world. And step 3, you compare reality to your model. You're looking for the gaps, the differences, the places where it doesn't line up, because that's where the really interesting insights are hiding.
So at the end of the day, what's the power of the ideal type? Well, it takes super complex stuff and simplifies it. It makes abstract ideas way clearer. It acts as what researchers call a heuristic device, which is just a fancy term for a mental shortcut that helps guide your research. It's an absolutely essential tool for comparing, contrasting, and analyzing the world.
And that brings me to a final thought for you. The funny thing is, we all kind of do this without even knowing it. Think about it.
We all have these mental models, these ideal types of what makes an ideal friend, or the ideal job, or even the ideal vacation. So I'll leave you with this question. What ideal types are you already using as a yardstick to understand your own world?